All right, so next, as we get ready to move in, I'm going to introduce a young man. How many of y'all like spoken word? We got any poets in here? Okay, just give you a little bit background on how spoken word is used as therapy. Spoken word is often used as a therapy for healing and personal growth. It helps individuals see themselves fully in a time they cannot, and in a time they come to experience the hidden facets of themselves. This young man, I'd like to introduce, he's going to bring us some poetry. He was at the talent show a couple of months ago, and he got up and did his thing. So I'd like to introduce to some and present to others, Mr. Smooth.
I promise I ain't gonna be before you long. I'm technically on my lunch break, so I gotta hurry up and get back to work. The first piece I'm gonna do is called The Starting Line. I can see it. Can you see it? The finish line, can you see it? It's right there. People screaming, fans cheering, me in the air, they'll be lifting, confetti flying, music playing. All for me. Yeah. Speaking of finishing, where's it I need to be? And it's at that moment that you realize you've already crossed the starting line. We spend so much time focused on the prize that we don't realize how much time we weren't even trying. This race called life begins at the start of one's life, and at first, we're at full stride. With a smile extra wide and dreams so vast they could blot out the sun in the sky, but eventually, we begin taking heed to some of the things that life can provide, and now, slowly, we're no longer at full stride. Now our smile isn't as wide. Now we begin looking to the side to see this guy's prize, and once we see it, we can't take away our eyes. Blinded by the gleam in his eyes over the artifact in which he chose to be satisfied. And time spent mesmerized by his prize is time that we lose from getting to our own prize. Procrastination in this race is an excuse to waste your dreams. Not paying attention to your own lane due to a fixation on another's means. I mean, we're already losing because we're too busy watching. I'm going to play sports. I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be in the magazines. But in what ways are you trying? Waiting for tomorrow allows someone else to get a head start on you today. Every second spent thinking instead of acting is basically procrastinating, waiting for something to reinforce what we ourselves are already feeling, just so we don't feel like we're the only ones to see the potential that's manifesting. I apologize, y'all. It's been a minute. No one ever said anything was meant to be easy. As a matter of fact, the more you want something, the harder it's going to be to bring it to reality, because there's always somebody out there with the same dream, chasing the same thing, awaiting the day that anyone begins noticing. Stay focused. Keep straight, and eventually, you too will reach your prize. There's only one thing that you have to keep in mind, and that is you've already crossed the starting line. That's it.
I apologize. We apologize.
This second piece is another one geared toward the same setup. It's entitled The Fate of the Future. And it's geared more so towards the parents instead of the kids, because we have to be able to be the ones that's passing on the right knowledge, to teach the right lessons. We can preach all we want to the kids, but it's got to be the ones that's teaching the kids that make the first step. If I can go back in time as an adult and speak with the adults to train me to be an adult, I would say as an adult, we can be wrong. The possibility of us making mistakes is strong, and since the fate of the future is the subject that I'm on, I took this time to come back in time and cover a few points. Now the first point is we need to stop giving up on these kids. I've come to accept life as an adult. I know how exhausting it is, but since not one of our kids asked us to exist, we cannot take that fatigue excuse out everywhere, or get blinded by confusion and refuse to do it. Kids coming with homework or financial aid applications, and we forget we ever had to go through it. Not even attempting to utilize the energy it would take to try, maybe reading the chapter they're struggling with, or taking them and the application to someone who does understand it. If we give up, what do you think that tells the kids? Now another thing is we need to learn to listen. Mind you, listening does not always require your ears. If what you see doesn't add up to what you hear, then there's obviously more elaborating they need to give, you dig? Just be patient with it. Take the time to really listen to them. Don't misconstrue the words they use and use it as an excuse to chastise them. Or do the same thing, flip it, and think they're innocent. Screaming, my seed wouldn't do such a thing. How can you not pay attention and still discover who's guilty? We've got babies out here killing, stealing, and prematurely making babies before they can comprehend responsibility. And the only elaboration I can see, no one's listening. Now lastly, we need to remember that times are changing. We all remember VHS and Atari, a clubhouse in the tree with the tire swing underneath. Not one of our kids will find either one of those things interesting. They're only looking for things that need electricity, which means we need to tweak our technique in order to incorporate the things we see to spark their intrigue and utilize those same things for educating. Teaching both accountability and responsibility in the same swing. Now believe me, I didn't come here to preach. And I know that this may be a bit much coming from me, and to a degree I may have came off aggressively, but it's the fate of the future that I'm addressing. It needs to be taken seriously. So I ask you this one question before I leave. What type of world do you want to leave? Thank you.